In today's gaming news, a Warlords of Draenor launch date party is announced, PlayStation Now enters open beta, and the original BioShock is going mobile. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. My name is Force, here with your day's gaming news. First up today, the World of Warcraft expansion Warlords of Draenor now has a date in which we'll be finding out the release date. On August 14th, Blizzard is hosting an event in which they'll be showcasing the Warlords of Draenor cinematic, as well as revealing the street date for the game. Now, if you can't make the event, like most people, you're gonna be able to watch it via live stream, but if you can make the event, they're actually gonna be handing out beta keys for the Warlords of Draenor. You know, it's planned to release at some point this fall. We don't have that exact date yet, but we are gonna be finding out very soon, and that's the information that I just wanted to let all of you know. Next up in news, PlayStation Now is currently in open beta. This is a streaming service that at the moment has a beta on the PlayStation 4. Now with this service, you're basically able to stream classic titles, currently titles from the PS3. In fact, at this very moment, there are 122 titles available to purchase or rent. You can rent them for 4 hours, 7 days, 30 days, or 90 days, depending on the title. And then there's also a few titles that you can buy. Now, something that's noteworthy of this service, though, is the pricing. It appears to be a little bit more expensive than we would expect, or than it probably should be. A quick example is Killzone 3. You can get this used after a little bit of research. You could get this used at GameStop for $4.99. Amazon Killzone 3, and the first thing that popped up was $18.99. So those are the prices that you can purchase the game for through secondhand means on the market right now. Now, if you take a look at the streaming service in PS Now, the current pricing for Killzone 3 is you can rent it for 4 hours for $2.99, 7 days for $5.99, 30 days for $7.99, or 90 days for $14.99. So as you can see by taking a look at those prices, they're really not comparable. I mean, you can go out there and purchase this game and have it for indefinitely, or you can rent it for 90 days for as much, if not more, depending on where you get it from. Now, this is just one small example. There's also been various comparisons put out there by numerous gaming websites that take a look at the pricing of PlayStation Now, and that all of that aside, the service isn't going to be that great for some people. I was actually recently talking to Total Biscuit, and he told me it's basically unplayable for him. He does an internet test, it runs fine, the system tells him that it should be working fine, but between lag and artifacting, it's just basically unplayable. Now, I haven't hopped into it yet, although I do plan to do that at some point this evening, and I'll probably make a video or talk with you guys about it in an upcoming feed, just to let you know how the service runs for me. Whether or not PlayStation Now is going to be something that people are interested in or actually spend any money on, seems a little bit unlikely, especially if we can buy these games fully for a lot less than we can temporarily rent them for through PS Now. And last up in news today, the original BioShock was a critically acclaimed title, and it's now coming to mobile platforms. Yes, BioShock in its entirety will be available on iOS devices at some point this summer. The game is being ported by 2K China, which is the same development studio that ported the iOS version of XCOM Enemy Unknown. It's going to be the full game playable with on-screen analog controls or with any MFI compatible controller, which are basically normal type of analog controllers that you can plug into your iPhone or use with a tablet, what have you. Now, normally I'm not really into iOS games. In fact, the only iOS game that I've ever played that I really enjoyed was Yearwalk. That was an awesome game. Also The Room. The Room is another good game. I mean, there's some good mobile games, but that's not really the type of gaming that I'm normally into. I wanted to mention this because it's being ported by 2K China, and because XCOM Enemy Unknown was a great PC game that I enjoyed, and people seem to like it decently enough, you know, despite the pricing being as high as it was on its mobile port. So if this can live up to be anywhere near as good of a port as XCOM Enemy Unknown was, now my biggest concern, of course, will be the controllers. We're talking about an FPS game on a touch device. Now, if you have one of these iOS controllers that you can use with dual analog sticks and all the buttons that you expect and so forth, then I think that could be a decent experience. In fact, the playtesting that I've heard of people doing for the mobile version of BioShock, there's been fairly positive reviews. They said it's pretty much the original game, just dumbed down a little bit visually. But it seems like it's going to be a fairly decent port from everything we've heard so far. All right, guys, that is going to do it for today's episode of the show. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to comment in the comment section below about any of the topics discussed here today. Are you going to be watching the Warlords of Draenor launch date announcement, launch Party thingy. How do you feel about BioShock coming to the iOS platform? And have you tried PlayStation Now? How is the service for you? And how do you feel about its rental pricing compared to how much you can purchase these fully available games for? Thanks guys so much for watching. Hope you have a fantastic day. Once again, this has been Force, and you have just been force fed. PlayStation Now, more like PlayStation, how do they expect anyone to be willing to purchase this stuff? Rent a game for 4 hours for $5? Are you insane?